In 1986, my dad applied for a new telephone connection. By the time it arrived, a full 8 years had passed. That was how life was like in India until 1991, the year that changed everything. In the years preceding 91, India was a tough place to do business. You needed a license to produce everything. So if you ran a car factory, the government controlled what exactly you could make and how much of it. But in July 1991, the then Prime Minister Narasimha Rao and Finance Minister Manmohan Singh changed all that. It wasn't like they had much of a choice. The ongoing Gulf War had pushed up oil prices. India's reserves of US dollars were barely enough to pay for 3 weeks of imports, and the country was forced to pledge gold to borrow money from the International Monetary Fund. Major reforms were needed.
The crisis was converted into an opportunity to bring about some fundamental changes in India's economic policy.
The rupee was devalued by a staggering 20% to make Indian goods cheaper overseas. Licenses were abolished for everything from soap to steel, and many areas of business reserved exclusively for the state were thrown open to private enterprise and foreign players. Billionaire Harsh Mariwala at the time was a young CEO of his family business.
The impact it had created was unbelievable. And all of a sudden, we were just freed. So it was a huge sense of elation, freedom, just unleashing the entrepreneurial spirits.
The Indian consumer too was suddenly spoiled for choice. You no longer had to depend on relatives from overseas to bring you that latest gizmo, or wait 10 years for your new scooter. Cars, electronics, consumer goods, brands of all kinds flooded the great Indian bazaar and continue to do so. And the economy boomed, with GDP growing 10 times bigger. 30 years on, is the glass half full or half empty? The pandemic has slowed growth. Companies are not investing as much. Protectionism is on the rise. And there are growing worries that some of the reforms are being undone, which will have an impact on the next 30 years of India's economic growth. But as far as that phone connection goes, you can now get one in under 24 hours.
Nikhil Inamdar there. Well, all this week